We're going to come back just to Chris Minns. He's taking questions on how Labor will fund its promises at the election. Let's have a listen into the New South Wales Labor leader.
And negotiate towards better services and a fair agreement. At the moment, we're not seeing productivity gains in the New South Wales public sector, and we're seeing, I think, many public servants saying, well, the government can't have it both ways. You can't increase tolls, taxes, fees, fines, charges and everything else that you can get your hands on, while at the same time refusing to sit down and negotiate with us in a fair way, like they do in other states. I'd also make the point that while I can't promise CPI increases for public servants in New South Wales, I'm also not going to reduce their wages down to zero, like Mr Perrottet did in the middle of the COVID-19 emergency. And I think in retrospect that was a disastrous political decision that was bad economics and bad for our society. To make wages 0%, frontline workers, particularly those that were working in the health sector, months before inflation exploded in New South Wales and around the world, was a big call, and it was a bad call. And it's one of the leading reasons why you're waiting hours to be treated by medical professionals in an emergency department, or your child's classes have been cancelled or merged. And I think, Mr Perrottet, if we are going to have a big and fair discussion about wages in New South Wales, should say whether he stands by what undeniably was a terrible economic decision for the state and for the New South Wales public sector.
How are you going to pay for these wage increases?
Well, we've made it clear anything that we promise in the New South Wales state election campaign will be independently audited and costed by the Parliamentary Budget Office. Both sides of politics have access to the PBO. That's been in place since September, and we'll make sure, and have made sure, that anything we've announced between now and the beginning of the campaign around Christmas has been independently costed by that independent agency. Second point here is that any increases that we do work out with frontline workers, whether they're nurses or hospital workers or paramedics, police officers or firefighters, will be done around a table with the strict set of economic principles in place. Productivity gains and budget savings will be the way we fund them.
Chris, you're talking about how you do want to sit down with these groups of essential workers and to work this out, but what you are doing is you're asking these people to trust that there will be an end result for those discussions that they haven't seen yet. Who knows what the outcome's going to be? Who knows where the economy is going to be at that time? So why should they trust that this is definitely going to be a better outcome?
Well, they do have to trust us, but we've gone into negotiations with worker representatives over the last 2 years on a whole range of complicated issues to do with workplace relations and conditions, whether it's safe staffing levels for nurses, whether it's additional paramedics for regional hospitals, whether it's complicated negotiations around, for example, the transition of temporary and casual contracts in the teaching profession to full-time permanent positions in New South Wales schools. I think we've done it in a professional way, and we've always spoken honestly about what we believe is able to be delivered given the tight budget constraints in New South Wales. And with that track record, I believe worker representatives, unions and those that work in the public sector can support New South Wales Labor, and believe that the New South Wales government's current policy is not economics, it's just politics.